The small vessel cut through the endless dark, its hull battered by years of spacefaring. Inside, Isaac Shaw leaned forward, his fingers trembling over the cracked controls. He was alone now. No crew, no backup, just a man driven by the slimmest hope. Isaac had been adrift for months, surviving on dwindling supplies, avoiding the wreckage of what humanity once was. The signal had come from the edge of known space, a steady pulse that shouldn't have been there. At first, he ignored it, dismissing it as another false lead. But with no other options, the signal became his last shot at something. Salvation, maybe, or at least a meaningful end. His ship's systems were failing, alarms blaring intermittently. Each sound ratcheted up the tension gnawing at him. He'd sent out countless distress signals, all met with silence. Earth was gone, a distant memory, and Isaac was ready to chase any ghost that might save him. The ship shuddered violently, metal groaning under stress. Isaac swore, slamming his fist against the console. A faint glow flickered on the screen. An incoming transmission, the first in weeks. He tapped the button, and a voice crackled through the speakers, thick with static and fear. "To any survivors, this is Captain Harris of the Endeavor. Do not approach the signal. It's not what we thought. It's a—" The transmission cut off abruptly, leaving Isaac staring at the screen, his heart pounding. "Captain Harris? Harris, do you copy?" His voice rose, desperate, but the silence was back, oppressive as ever. Isaac's mind raced. The signal had lured Harris in, just as it had done to him. But why? And what had Harris discovered that terrified him so much? Suddenly, the ship's alarms blared louder, jolting Isaac from his thoughts. His hands flew to the controls, his fingers dancing across the keys, but it was no use. The engines were failing, systems overloaded. He was going down. On the view screen, the source of the signal loomed, a massive structure, alien in design, its surface bristling with strange, pulsating lights. Something about it twisted Isaac's gut, a primal fear settling deep in his bones. But there was no turning back. With a final, desperate cry, Isaac redirected the ship, aiming for the structure. The vessel shook violently as it entered the gravity well, metal shrieking in protest. The impact was brutal, the world tilting as Isaac was thrown forward, his head slammed into the console, pain exploding in his skull. Everything went black. When he came to, he was lying on the floor of the cockpit, blood trickling down his face. Dazed, he staggered to his feet, every movement sending sharp pain through his body. The ship was a wreck, lights flickering weakly as systems failed one by one. He had to move, had to find out what Harris had tried to warn him about. Isaac pried open the hatch, stepping into a dimly lit tunnel that led deeper into the structure. The air was thick, almost metallic, and his breath came in ragged gasps as he moved forward, each step echoing eerily in the confined space. The signal was stronger here, a low hum that vibrated in his bones, pulling him forward like a moth to a flame. He rounded a corner and froze. Before him was a massive chamber, its walls lined with strange, organic pods. Inside each one, a human floated, their eyes closed, faces twisted in expressions of fear and agony. Among them, he recognized Captain Harris. Isaac's breath caught in his throat as the realization hit him. The signal wasn't a call for help. It was a lure, a trap designed to capture the desperate and the lost. It preyed on those like him, those with nowhere else to turn. He took a step back, heart pounding, but the hum grew louder, resonating in his skull, drowning out his thoughts. He pressed his hands to his temples, trying to block it out, but the pain was unbearable. He fell to his knees, the world spinning around him. As the green light enveloped him, pulling him into the darkness, he knew he was lost. Back in the cockpit, the ship's systems finally gave out. An automated distress signal, pre-programmed for emergencies, flickered to life, sending a final broadcast into the void. "This is Isaac Shaw of the Sovereign. If you can hear this, do not approach the signal. It's a trap. The transmission cut off as the ship's power died, leaving only silence in the cold, empty space. Isaac was gone, but the signal persisted, waiting for its next victim.